Today's parenting, what you need to know about your teens. We posted a survey on some hot button topics on today.com, and it hit a nerve. Tens of thousands of people responded. Here to talk about the results, Lucy Fink, a college student, Sam Koppelman, a high school student and blogger for the Huffington Post, and child and adolescent psychologist Jennifer Hartstein. Hi, all. Good to see you. Let's start with this Manti Te'o story. A lot of people are talking about this. Here's a guy who apparently had a relationship he built with a girl he thought was real online, and eventually got to the point where he called her his girlfriend. Now, there's a lot of other facts to the story. We don't have time for those right now. But I think what a lot of parents, Lucy, are trying to get their arms around right now is, could their teen have a relationship with someone online and get to the point where they feel romantically linked to that person, even though they've never met that person?
Teens in our generation, we are so used to the internet, and we grew up in live chat rooms, talking to strangers, meeting these people that our parents would probably tell us to stay away from. But as teens, you know, we're so used to that I don't think it's at all
So
strange.
this doesn't shock you that this guy actually thought he had a girlfriend and he'd never met her?
Unfortunately, no.
Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's really different about our generation is we don't group online relationships and interpersonal relationships any differently. We think that they're all the same thing, kind of, and so we talk to someone online, we text them, we email them, we chat with them, and then we see them in
girlfriend. Let me just ask you personally, would either of you label someone a boyfriend or a girlfriend that you met online and had never met in person?
Never.
Absolutely not. But what I can say is with Manti Te'o, the one thing he missed and the one thing that differentiated him from my friends and me is that he forgot the interpersonal part. And we usually combine the two, and we use online as a supplement to the rest of it, but he just completely dismissed that.
We wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you in a second, Doctor, but let me tell you, we asked our viewers. More than 25,000 responded. Are you surprised people can develop an emotional relationship with someone online? 24% said yes, 76% said no, Jennifer.
Right. So I'm not surprised, because their generation doesn't know life without the internet. They don't know life without texting, emailing, Facebooking. This is what they know. So this is how friendships and relationships are developed. You and I don't know from that. We know getting on the phone, having a face-to-face interaction, and that's what's getting missed in a lot of this, and what's really important. And I think that's where Manti Te'o really left off.
I guess it's that I have a different definition of friending someone and becoming someone's friend.
Right. But the fact is that with teenagers, you guys are texting. That's how they're communicating. They're not talking on the phone. When you guys are talking, right, conversation, often it's texts back and forth, not on the phone conversation.
So what's the takeaway for parents then on this? What do they need to know?
We use Facebook and other social media sites, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, all these sites. We friend people that we don't necessarily know.
All right, and that's a simple way to put it. Let's go to this next one, spring break. A lot of conversations around dinner tables over the next couple of weeks. Teenagers going to their parents saying, I think I'm ready. I'd like you to let me go away with my friends on a spring break trip. No parental supervision. How do you talk to your parents about this? How should parents deal with their teens?
Well, I think that one common thread throughout trips to spring break that I've heard is that when kids get in lots of trouble, too drunk, or they go to the hospital or something, parents are never involved. They're never communicating with these kids. And I think that it's important that if you do decide to let your kid go on a spring break trip, which I wouldn't necessarily advise, but if you do decide, make sure that you're in contact with them. Make sure you're texting them. Make sure you're calling them. Make sure you know where they are.
So they're ground rules. In other words, you will call me 3 times a day, or you will be reachable 3 times a day.
Exactly. You should set these ground rules for your kid, but also keep in mind, I don't think there's a set age or a set grade where a parent should say, this is the time when you can go on a spring break with your friends and without your family. I think that it's kind of a family decision, and you should talk about it. And I know my friends and I sort of organized this, and we decided to compromise, and my girlfriends and I went on a trip with our moms.
When 92%, by the way, the people who responded to our online survey said yes, parents need to set ground rules. Is a negotiation appropriate here, Doc?
Sure, and I think you have 2 teenagers basically saying, we want the rules, you know, so I think everybody knowing what the expectations are going in is what's important. How often do they have to call? What is the expectation of their behavior? Talk about not moving around anywhere by yourself. They need to be in buddies.
Zero alcohol tolerance policy?
That'd be great to put on the table, but how can you enforce that if you're not there? So if you know that alcohol alcohol is going to be present, talk about how to do it and use it smartly.
Lucy, you had a good point. I know you talked to our producer. You said, look to see how your child or your teenager behaves on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way they're going to behave on spring break.
It's different for every family, but if your child is coming home every weekend drunk and is causing trouble in the town, is misbehaving, then that's how they're going to be on spring break. But if they're behaving, if they listen to what you say, they follow curfew, then you kind of have to trust that that's how they'll be in Mexico.
Right. If you have a responsible kid, they're going to be responsible wherever.
Guys, thank you.
Thanks,
Good
Matt.
information
Thanks,
for
Matt.
parents and teens. Appreciate
Good
it
to
very
see you.
much. Up next.